For a long time, I've been a big fan of hammocks, and that's for a whole host of reasons, but one of those reasons being its versatility. You can hang a hammock anywhere. You can always find a place to hang a hammock, except for when you can't. That's what happened to me over the Memorial Day weekend recently. I brought along my hammock on a camping trip, and I got to a spot where I couldn't find a place to hang a hammock. I had my truck, so I had one tie down point. You always have at least one tree or a rock or a truck or a building or something, but you don't always have that second tie down point, or that other tree might be further away than what you have rope. So I was a bit embarrassed about that internally, and I decided that's the end of that. I'm going to find a way to string a hammock with only one tie down point. So I'm going to show you how I did that. Now, this method does involve a bit of scavenging. One of the things that you're going to have to find is a pretty hefty stick. It's going to have to stand up to some compression, and that stick needs to be at least as high as your other tie down point. So this stick is a little bit long. We're going to have to whittle it down a bit. It's also going to help if you cut a little bit of a point on the end of this stick, kind of help it to stay put where you want it. Doesn't have to be a real sharp point. That'll work. You're also going to need 3 stakes. So we'll see how these guys work. Several tries and several broken sticks later, I have 4 here. 3 that I need and 1 extra that I think will do the job. We'll see. Alright, the next move here is we're going to lay it out, figure out where we need to put everything. The big important part here is we need to figure out where our tie down is going to be. That'll work. This part is going to be the most pivotal part, and we'll probably have to try it a couple of times here. So what we want to do is we want to go in 3 different directions with these 3 stakes, like so. And you want them as long as possible so that they dig in to the dirt. We're going to pound them in kind of like that. There we go. Next, I'm going to bind all this business together so that I can tie off to it. Just going to use this little piece of cord here, and I'm going to wrap it around and around. In fact, while I'm doing that, I'm going to incorporate my hammock rope into that. Get to the end, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just tie it off. Not going to be a lot of tension individually on that one wrap of it. Now we have an anchor. There are certainly varied and probably more reliable ways to to do this anchor, if you have a sapling or something that's not big enough to string your hammock to, if you tie off to the bottom of a sapling, you've got a very solid anchor and it won't go anywhere. Obviously depending on the sapling, but give it a try, and you might not have to pound in stakes that may or may not hold. Also, a big rock. If you can find a big rock and tie off to, that would work also very well. Yet another option would be a tire. If your buddy's got a car that doesn't have any place that you can tie off to, you can always go around the pad of where the tire is on the ground, tie a knot in that rope right there, and it's not going to come out from underneath there. I had to do a little voiceover here since it seems all of creation conspired against me. I had a jumbo jet fly over, a semi-truck drive by on the road, and the wind kick up all at the same time. So what I'm pointing out here is the fact that you need to pull your hammock tight so you can determine a straight line, where to put your support stick. If you have the base of your support stick on one side or the other of directly below your rope, it will want to lean in the other direction. So just pull it tight, draw a line in the sand or the dirt, whatever it might be, and that's where you want to start with the base of your support stick. Nice and tight here with what I've for a long time referred to as a trucker's knot. I don't know if that's actually what a trucker's knot is or not. Nice and tight. That ought to do it. Here's the whole thing all set up. Just up and over here. If you have the opportunity to loop that around, it's a little bit unofficial, but you don't have to do it. And here we are, just hooked onto the truck. Let me set this camera down and give you a front row seat to the show. This is the point where I feel it behooves me to offer a slight disclaimer. If you choose to use the 3-stake method, it is possible for them to pull out of the ground. I had it happen to me a couple of times in the filming of this. When they do, they will come back your direction in a fairly rapid fashion. So, the first time that you sit all the way down in this hammock, if you're using the stakes, make sure that you don't have any little kids around, and make sure that you're on your toes. Be prepared to bail off or put your hand up. If you're using a giant rock, or if you're using the base of another tree, if you're using a tire or something like that, it's not going to come loose, and you're in a lot less precarious situation. Carry on. It's a little bit precarious to climb into the first time. Always want to test it. Just put a little bit of weight on it, like you would any hammock. There we go. A single tree or truck hammock. Pretty well stable. You can move around in it. It is possible to tip it over if you get a big wind going or you get to swinging back and forth on it. But inherently, it does not want to tip over. The principle at work here is the fact that in order for that stick to tip over, it has to stretch the rope and thus the hammock tighter. And it doesn't want to do that because it's the path of least resistance, so it stays more or less straight up and down. If you get the base of the stick off to one side or another, it will want to lean a little bit, so you're going to have to fool with that a little bit until you get it just in the sweet spot. But it is possible to string a hammock with only one tree or one truck. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. As a bit of a bonus feature here, I'm going to show you how to do this with 2 sticks, just in case you have 2 sticks, or if the whole single stick shaky business doesn't jive with you. And truly, if I had 2 sticks to do it with, I would use both, just because it's a bit more stable. The 2-stick method is pretty much the same as the 1-stick method, only with another stick. And the mandatory part here is you're going to have to wrap your rope up over, so coming from your hammock, you're going to go through the whole business, then you're going to wrap around, and then you're going to come back up and over. What you want to do is you want to make sure that both of your lines of force are kind of pushing down in the crotch of this, so to speak, and then this other wrap, or 2 wraps, or however much rope you have, is just holding it together. Here it is from start to finish, for clarity's sake. Through the center of it, all the way around the whole thing. That binds it together, and now back up and out the center. So everything's pushing down, and this is tightening up and preventing it from splitting. So through, and then coming out. And that's what it looks like. I'll give you a quick demo here. Question is, are 2 sticks better than 1? I don't know. Sure feels a lot less like I'm going to tip over, and I can tolerate a little bit of breeze. Who knows? It's up to your preference. Thanks for watching. Bonus feature's over.